Thank you, Kevin. And you having gone through the list of special guests and invitees here today, I won't repeat the same names a second time, but thank you all very much for being here. And everybody is important. So you're all special guests here today for this kickoff of a very exciting time in the history of the New Brunswick Aviation Museum. The New Brunswick Aviation Museum was actually incorporated in 2013. And in 2014, it became a charitable organization in charitable status. And there's lots of history that the museum has been working on, and will continue to do that. And it became quite apparent that we would like to keep growing. Some of the history is worth me just mentioning, so you can get a little bit of a flavor for not only the things on the display here, the various photographs and indications of what has taken place in aviation, and aviation, who the aviation heroes are, or some of them have been noted here, and we'll continue to build on that. The next step, however, became apparent to us that we needed a state-of-the-art facility that would allow us to do some of the other things besides exhibiting, some of the lectures, some special events, and we wanted to move ahead with that. So it was decided that we should go and start a fundraising campaign to build our own facility. Now, in the interim, until that is complete, we have, as of July 1, this facility here. We have been able to raise enough money to pay for preliminary work, and this will provide a good spot for a kickoff. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be having further step in the kickoff campaign for a major fundraising event, and that will be in Fredericton. But today we wanted to start in Chatham, because this is where aviation history was made for some considerable period of time. And it was important, if the museum is located here and the physical facility will be located here, it's important that we start here with our campaign. You know, this base, when it was a base here in Chatham, was part of, and it's indicated on one of the posters behind me, part of the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. Canada, in the Second World War, trained over 130,000 air crew and ground crew. And Chatham had 2 different squadrons of training going on here at this base. After the war and on into the Cold War, this was a very important training base, and its history is important to tell, because we were able to achieve a lot during that period of time. The training plan, as I indicated the number, you may be interested in making a mental note of Yellow Wings to Victory, which is a video that you can find on the internet, and describes in detail the tremendous contribution that Canada and New Brunswick and Chatham made to aviation, and I think it's important that we continue that. So we have the history, we have the state of where we are right now. We're going to be able to build over on land that has been kindly donated by the airport authority here. So we will be able to use the land, and then it's a matter of building a state-of-the-art facility that will have an emphasis on educating and teaching, and we hope and expect that it will become likewise a draw for the many exhibits. You can see the exhibits that are here, but there are many more, and more aircraft that will come as time goes on, and that will bring people to Chatham, Mr. Mayor, and you'll be pleased to have lots of people coming and going as a destination, and we expect that will happen. So how do we get there? We know where we are now, and the question is, how do we get there? And you know, there's one program that is serendipitous in its happening at this time under Canada Helps. Virtually all charitable organizations are registered under Canada Helps. And for a period of time starting June 1, the Great Canadian Great Canadian Giving Challenge is underway, and every dollar that is donated to our project and through Canada Helps has a chance then to win a prize for that donee of $20,000. So $20,000 would come in very handy as a kickstart for this project. So we're hoping that those of you who feel you would like to make a donation, have in mind that program that started just 4 days ago, June 1, and will continue throughout the month of June. I have two other items I just want to bring to your attention, because again, MLA, MP, and the mayor, aviation on the civilian side as well as the Air Force side, and I've emphasized the Air Force side that I served in for 5 years in the Air Force. I served actually out at St. Margaret's for a short period of time. So I knew this area, caught my first grilse in the Miramichi, so I was very, very pleased to help out when I received a call from Kevin Anderson to help out with this project. It's absolutely incredible the work that Kevin has done, and you can see in all the brochures and the material and the displays, as the director and chair of our fundraising campaign, we are very, very impressed with the tremendous number of honorary patrons and partners, Kevin, that you've been able to attract. And that will help us with ideas and passing the word. And that's what I'm hoping all of you will be able to do, is to pass the word to others along the way. And if you can take a look at the honorary patrons and partners that are involved with this project already, you would be very impressed. But just recently in the Telegraph Journal, there was an article that Marshall Aerospace and Defense Group, and that illustrates the civilian side of military supply, and not everybody has to have served in the armed forces and in the Air Force in order to appreciate the tremendous work that members of the armed forces do for all of us, including during this very difficult COVID time. You can see the armed forces personnel stepping up when asked. So the Marshall Canada announcement of this particular company indicates that they would be establishing themselves in New Brunswick, and they're looking for square footage in the form of warehousing to start with about 100 people, but growing depending on contracts that they receive. So that's an indication of what can happen, one thing building on another thing. And the final point I wanted to make in telling you that our campaign is underway, and in thanking Kevin Anderson again for the tremendous leadership that he has been showing and will continue, I'm sure, to show, is that the Beaverbrook Canadian Foundation has confirmed that it is donating $40,000 to cover 25% portion of the feasibility study and 1 year of rent and this hangar space at the airport. $40,000, but that's not all. And as the feasibility study progresses, and that's a necessary step that we have to go through, as that progresses, the next step is they will be, and this is again, they being the Beaverbrook Canadian Foundation, will be donating another $60,000. So that's a really good kickstart, $100,000, and that gives you an indication of just what is possible. You know, Max Aitken, Lord Beaverbrook, as we all know, came from this area, but made his fortune in the UK, but was involved with Canada throughout. K.C. Irving served in the Royal Flying Corps in the First World War, and the Irving family have always been very generous when it comes to recognizing the role that the Air Force and flying has played and continues to play, both militarily and from a civilian point of view. So that is all I have to touch on at this stage, but I do invite you to take a look at the displays that the team has put up, and one way that we raise funds is by selling various items of interest, which if you buy a cap or buy a t-shirt, that's the first step towards a conversation as to what is this New Brunswick Aviation Museum and what's it all about. So you become deputies and help us all out as well. Thank you very much for being here. We very much appreciate it, and off we go together.